Who are the 5 people that you are spending the most time with in your life? And how do they make you feel? Because that is going to affect your ability to manifest the desires of your heart and to reach your goals. Welcome to another episode of the Psychology of Manifestation podcast with your host, Sudane Firestar. I am so happy you're here, my dear. All right. So this episode is titled Masterminds and Manifestation. And I actually learned about masterminds years ago. I'm thinking around 2014. This is back in my days when I was really interested in entrepreneurship, and I was listening to a lot of podcasts at that time that were more like business oriented and like oriented towards entrepreneurship. I used to listen to Entrepreneur on Fire back then because John Lee Dumas had this awesome idea of creating an episode of his podcast every single day that he could release for people to binge. And so back then, I was reading Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, and that's where I first heard the term mastermind. And so a mastermind, if you're not familiar with it, is this concept of like the meeting of the minds. So you add at least one more person to make a group of two, and then those minds together kind of create a third, more powerful mind. Because yes, we're all brilliant as individuals, but there are some gaps that we have that other people can fill in. We can learn from each other. We can brainstorm. We can problem solve, and we can share resources and network. So there are so many benefits to coming together and creating a mastermind. And there are some people who do this in a more informal way. And then there are some people who do it in a more formal way where it's like a paid opportunity where people who have shared values and goals and are on a mission to go to the next level professionally and personally come together on a routine basis, and they hold each other accountable for getting to their next level. Anyway, I thought it would be an awesome opportunity to discuss masterminds in the context of manifestation because lately I've been wanting to look at my life as a mastermind. Right? Rather than looking at it just as an opportunity for you to create a specific group that's working on a specific goal, like if you take an opportunity to really take stock of your life and look around and see who do you have in your life? Because back then too, when I was learning about entrepreneurship, there was this quote that people used to talk about all the time, even though I haven't heard it recently because I'm more like in the spiritual realm now. But this quote still applies in the context of law of attraction and mindset work and manifestation. People used to say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let me say that again. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This quote is credited to Jim Rohn. And so, who do you have in your life? Who is in your circle? Who are the 5 people that you are spending the most time with in your life? And how do they make you feel? Because that is going to affect your ability to manifest the desires of your heart and to reach your goals. Like if you are surrounded by people who are positive and they're inspiring and they add value to your life in various ways. So it's not just like value in terms of like what they can give to you in terms of physical things or money, but what do they give to you in terms of encouragement, inspiration, support? Maybe they just have an amazing sense of humor. Maybe they are very generous with their resources, their time, their energy. Maybe they inspire you because they're just freaking go-getters and they're always hitting the ground running and they're so driven to get to their next level. And when you see them going to their next level, you're like, dang, like I wanna match their energy. I feel inspired to go to the next level in my life too, and in my business and in my career. So in your life, really consider all of the people that you surround yourself with, from your partner, your lover, your family members, your colleagues, your clients, your friends, your children, whoever it is. So think about the people who are in your life and what they bring to your life and how you feel when you're around them. Do they inspire you? Do they make you feel happy? Do they encourage you? Do they support you? And if they're not, reflect on that. because that is going to stop you from getting to your next level if the people that you surround yourself with don't have shared values, don't have a shared mindset, are not really that motivated. Maybe they are content to just like coast along in life. But if it's really important to you to be the best version of you, then you're going to need to surround yourself with people who reflect that back to you and people who inspire you to improve your quality of life. So when I think about myself, I mean, I think it took me a while in life to really think about like career wise, the kind of people I wanted to surround myself with. But I'm thinking all the way back to college is when I really started to get better at like cultivating really high quality friendships and thinking about the value that my friends added to my life. I really started to create these high quality friendships that have stood the test of time. And, I'm really at a good place with my friendships. I love my friends. I feel like that is where a lot of my wealth comes from, the people I surround myself with in terms of my friendships. I have the most amazing friends in the world. They are a part of my mastermind when I think about my life in general as a mastermind rather than just thinking of these pockets of my life, right? I think of my life overall. And for the most part, the quality of my relationships with my family members are good too. I'm not saying that everything in every part of the family is perfect. I don't know that any family is perfect, but I do think that I have been very intentional about who I interact with on a routine basis and who I'm the closest with in my family, just thinking about like the kind of energy that I want to have around me and in my life. And so, with family, that can be a little bit tricky, right? It's not like friendships where you're just going to like cut them off all the time. And so, if you feel like you are not necessarily surrounded by the best energy in your family, that's not to say that you just cut everyone off. But you can also think about how often you want to spend time with certain people. Because, like I said earlier with the Jim Rohn quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So it doesn't mean that you don't speak to people ever again and you just completely distance yourself. But if you're speaking to someone on a daily basis and when you speak to them, you feel like they are pessimistic and they're bringing your vibe down, and then that's how you're taking that with you, you're carrying that with you into the rest of your day, then you want to think about that. Is that the energy that you want to go into the rest of your day with every single day? Maybe it's something that you can only really deal with once a week. Maybe it's something you can only really deal with once a month. Or if you're living with someone who is giving you negative vibes, maybe it's time to kind of go your separate ways where you don't necessarily want to live in the same space with someone who is bringing bad vibes into your immediate experience, right? Because when you go home, like that's the time where you want to de-stress, where you want to be able to rest and recover and be able to be the best version of you when you wake up the next day to go out into the world again. So you definitely don't want to be living in negative vibes on a routine basis. So yeah, like maybe it's that you're still going to keep that person in your life and maybe you just don't want to live with them anymore. So that's something else to consider. Or if it's with your colleagues or your business partners, like your assistants, whoever it is, do you feel like the people that you work with are high vibe and they're bringing good energy to you? Because if you feel like they aren't, then again, you might want to create some physical or mental distance or emotional distance from people who you feel are not really creating that positive energy that you want to have in your life. Because as I have said time and time again in each and every episode of this podcast practically, you want to be an energetic match for your desires. And the way to become an energetic match for your desires is to be in a positive feeling state and to be like full of joy, love, and light, because that's what's going to get you closer to those beautiful things that you want to call into your life. So you have to really think about what's in your environment and how the energy of the other people around you contribute to how you feel. Okay. And yeah, like, I mean, also, if you are working with people who you feel are pretty low vibe, you want to consider that too. It doesn't mean that you have to get out of a certain field because obviously my background is also in psychology. And so you might have clients that are struggling with significant mental health issues. So it doesn't mean that you're going to distance yourself from your clients, but then that also means that you need to work on taking really good care of yourself. Like your self-care has to be super high level to ensure that you're not, bringing all of that like heaviness home with you every night and like going to bed with it and waking up with it the next day, because that's what leads to burnout. So you really need to be like, maybe it's that after you have a session with your client, you're going home and you're talking to a friend or a family member who makes you feel really good. Or maybe that means that you're going out for a social activity to be around your friends who make you laugh and light up your life, right? So this is what it's all about. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And, this is the summary. And it really comes from every angle of your life, all of the relationships that you have in your life, your colleagues, your business associates, your friends, your family members, your spouse, your lovers, your partner, your relationships with your children, if you have children. All of these relationships matter. They all affect your energy. And from time to time, you need to look at your life overall as a mastermind and think about the type of people that you want to be in your world, who are high vibe, who are going to inspire you and get you to that next level. So, something else I wanted to add, even though this is kind of the summary section, is that I also have invested in myself a ton. So that means that I have not only invested time and energy, I've also invested money in programs that have helped me to get to my next level and have helped me to be in the energy of people I feel are like driven to be successful, driven to be incredible entrepreneurs and business owners and like multimillionaires. So like I am in that energy, if not on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis. And I credit that for me becoming a podcaster because one of my coaches, she is a podcaster. That's actually how I discovered her. And that pushed me to my next level where I felt inspired and like, this is a dream that I've had for so many years that I just have never like actually taken serious action on. Like if I hadn't been in her energy, I'm not sure if I would have done it. It could have continued to be like a someday kind of dream. But now it's a reality because I choose to put myself in the energy of people who are driven, people who are motivated to go to their next level, people who are inspiring, people who are high vibe. So I also encourage you, whenever there's an opportunity to do so, to invest in yourself. And I actually have an opportunity coming up soon for you to do just that and to be in the energy of other women who are on that path to making the most of life. And instead of all the time, like thinking of certain dreams as unrealistic or too idealistic and putting them on the back burner and just like putting them in a box, in a shelf, like in a closet, collecting dust, like to bring that box out, blow the dust off, wipe that dust off, open it up, and recognize that your dreams are possible. Anything you want in life is possible. And when you surround yourself with the right people who are on that same path with that same level of energy, you can do anything. Anything is possible. So, if you're not on my email list yet, you need to get on it. It's in the show notes. And I have a masterclass that's coming up soon. It's going to be free, and there's a special opportunity that comes along with going to that masterclass, which you're going to learn about very, very soon. And then, in addition to me talking about it in the masterclass, which you got to sign up for, like if you sign up for my email list, you'll be one of the first to hear about the masterclass when it drops coming up this weekend. I'm also going to be talking about it on my social media. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm at Sudane Firestar. And so you're going to get a window into what that special opportunity is. So Your high vibe people, they don't just have to be IRL, they don't have to just be in person, they can also be people online. So that's a clue, a hint, a clue, okay? So that's what I have for you today, my dearest. And what you can do with this episode is really just take the time to reflect on the 5 people you spend the most time with and think about what you gain from being around these people. Like, what kind of beautiful value do they add to your life? Are they generous? Are they funny? They make you laugh. They make you smile. Are they highly supportive and encouraging? And whatever it is you want to accomplish, they're like, yes, girl, you can do whatever you desire. Are they people who uplift you when you're feeling down? Are they people who are just so freaking driven that you're like, yo, I better get my act together because I want to be on that level too? And even though I like keep trying to wrap up, I just want to add that whenever I was in college or grad school, I was always surrounded by go-getters. So I always felt like I needed to push myself to keep going. So even though, for example, I was delayed for a while in finishing my doctorate, I had the most amazing women around me who were so driven, who got to the end on time. And I continued to have them in my world. They're still some of my amazing friends that I love dearly, who like came to my baby shower or they sent gifts for the baby shower, for my daughter. So I have the most amazing people around me who inspire me, who encourage me even through their own actions. Okay. So again, if you want more of that in your life, if you're ready for that, especially going into 2026, where you want it to be new year, new you, rather than new year, same you, get on the email list. It's in the show notes. All right. That's what I have for you, my dear. If you're not following the podcast yet, follow it. I'm on the major platforms like Apple Podcast and Spotify. And then there's also YouTube. So you can subscribe on YouTube and then hit that bell so that you get the notifications whenever a new episode is dropping. And until next time, I love you. You are the best. Have a great holiday season. Love you so much. Bye.